So I think we'll make a start. As normal, I'll just go give you a bit of information about meditation and about this group event. So it is being shared uh, on YouTube live stream, um, and so all the mics are switched off anyway. If any point I'm disconnected, I'll try to reconnect at the soonest possible time. And also, if you get disconnected, you can join on our YouTube live stream. So whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, you can always, re-click the link and, get back to that if you get disconnected. So just a quick intro for those who are new or for those who are watching it for the first time after the live event. So just a quick intro, what is meditation? So meditation is actually just a natural state of being, a natural state of awareness, natural state of just existing as life itself, and is within all of us as our natural essential state of being. So normally we identify ourselves with our identity and with our image, self-image of ourselves, with the image of we have of the world. But meditation is actually bringing our attention to our natural innate nature, our natural sense of existence, natural sense of existing as nature, as life itself. And so we use many techniques to come to this space. The space of being is naturally there, naturally present, always there present, only clouded by our sense of identity, of thought, emotion, and impressions, sense impressions. So first, we use meditation techniques as a form of concentration to concentrate, to focus our attention on one particular object, whether that's the breath, some sound, or some point in the body, or energy point, or external object. And then as our attention deepens, as our concentration deepens, we can then turn that attention within ourselves and help us to discover that space of presence, to that eternal, unchanging space within oneself. So in today's guided meditation, we're using three different techniques. First, as a form of concentration, we'll be focusing on the breath at the nostril area, and then just witnessing, being aware of the breath. As you're aware of the breath in this way, you also become aware of your thought patterns, the movement of your attention, how your attention continuously goes into unconscious thought patterns and emotional patterns and sense impressions and sensations in the body. And you start to become self-aware of where your attention moves to, the different thought patterns, emotional patterns, the sense of identity. Start to become more self-aware and bring that conscious awareness to them, conditioned patterns of being. And then slowly we'll move to the third eye meditation, where we start to perceive with our inner eye of intuition, and we start to perceive beyond the layers of thought and conditioned mind, and start to connect to the deeper inner space within oneself, the unchanging, infinite space within oneself. Just as you have the outer space in which objects come and go, you're connecting to the inner space in which them objects, them forms of thought and emotion, but looking beyond that into the space, into the essential space itself within oneself. And then the last technique is actually just letting go of using the breath or any meditation technique and just naturally allowing our attention to slip and abide in that space of effortless presence into the very core of oneself. And so do whatever practice you feel comfortable with. If you wish to go back to the breathing technique at any point, you can do. Just be comfortable, be open, be receptive, and just allow. It's all about bringing your attention back inwards. So the attention normally has gone out into thoughts, chasing each and every thought into the sense impressions, into the world. But now slowly we start to turn our attention inwards using concentration on the breath, and then awakening the third eye, looking within ourselves, looking into the nature of reality within ourselves, and then connecting to the essence of oneself. So it's a gradual process of bringing the attention back home within oneself. Okay, so we'll just make a start. So just making yourself comfortable, whether that's sitting or lying down, preferably sitting and keeping your back straight, just to allow the attention to stay centered and also allowing the energies to flow upwards. and minimizing the distractions in your outer environment, switching the phone off or putting on silent, making yourself comfortable using any blankets, cushions if you need. And as you close your eyes, just allowing your attention to come to the nostril area. As you close your eyes, just feeling your attention move down to the nostril area. And as you inhale, feeling that sensation of air coming in through the nostrils as you inhale. And as you exhale, again, feeling the sensation of air moving back out the nostril as you exhale. So initially, you can take a few conscious breaths in and out just to feel that sensation of the air passing through the nostril. But then you just want to allow your breathing to flow in its natural rhythm and just to be a witness, just to be aware of the breath as it is in the moment. So with your attention at the nostril area, as you inhale, feeling that flow of air moving in through the nostril. And as you exhale, feeling that sensation of air moving back out the nostril. So watching the breath in your own rhythm, watching the breath coming in and out, and aware of that subtle sensation of air moving in and out the nostril. And a key to this is coming to that state of where we're just simply just witnessing our present moment experience. We're just being a witness, just aware of the breath coming in, aware of the breath going out. You don't need to analyze or judge the breath in any way or try to control it in any way. But just watching the natural breath in its own rhythm, not forcefully holding or making the breath longer, slower, or holding our breath in any way, but just simply seeing it as is, moment to moment. The breath coming in, the breath going out. And you may notice the breath may be predominantly coming in through one nostril. And normally this shifts every 40, 50 minutes or so. So just seeing now where you can feel that sensation of air the most. Is it in the left nostril or the right nostril? Or do you feel it equally through both the nostril? Usually it's predominantly in one nostril. You'll feel that sensation of air coming in through the most. Where do you feel the sensation of air the most? Is it left nostril, right nostril, both? Is it predominantly coming through one? If it is, just focus on that. Focus either on the left or right nostril. You feel the sensation of the breath lower down the nostril near the upper lip, or do you feel the sensation high up the nostril? Just being aware left or right, up or down, just focusing on where you feel that sensation of air coming in, just honing in your attention into that space. If you feel concentrating on a smaller area is difficult, just be aware of the breath in the entire nostril area. Watching the breath coming in and out in its own rhythm. And naturally the attention will move. Naturally, you'll find your attention will be caught up in some thought pattern, or your attention will move to some sense impression, some sound in your outer environment. or some sensation in the body apart from the breath. And each time you notice your attention is not with the breath and your attention is with some other object, whether that's thought, sensation, or some sound or sense impression, then just take a moment and just observe that particular thought or experience. And in the same way you was watching the breath coming in and out, in the same way just watching that thought appearing or experience appearing, and just being aware of it without interacting with it. And if there's a part of you interacting with that particular thought, just be aware of that also. Usually our own sense of identity, our own self-image of oneself, that interacts with these thoughts, thought patterns, emotional patterns, and it identifies with certain thought patterns. It sees itself as that particular thought pattern, that particular belief or emotion, identifies with it. And then there's some sort of reaction there could be with that particular thought or emotion. If it's positive, we try to hold on to, grasp onto that particular thought pattern or emotional pattern. If it feels unpleasant, we try to push it away. And so just being aware whenever your attention moves to some thought patterns, emotional patterns, be just aware of where your attention is, aware of the experience you're having, aware of the particular thoughts or emotions, aware of any part of our identity which is identifying, thinking that it's that thought, or reacting in some way with that particular thought or emotional pattern. And just watching that, and recognizing there's a deeper space within oneself where we're simply just aware of wherever our attention is. We're simply aware, and that awareness is untouched by that particular thought pattern, by any reaction, even. That deeper awareness is unchanged, is unaffected by that movement. And then bring your attention slowly, bring your attention back to the breath, back to the nostril area. And again, watching the breath coming in and out. And each time you observe the movement of your attention, each time you can let go of holding on to or part of the identity which holds on to these thought patterns, which identifies and reacts to them. You slowly can see, become conscious of this process happening. And as we just become aware of it, instead of reacting to it, we come to a greater space of freedom within ourselves and our perception widens. Normally, when we get caught up in particular thoughts and patterns, our perception narrows, and that particular thought pattern becomes our world at that moment. We can't see the bigger picture. It's about zooming out and coming to that space of awareness within oneself, which is unchanging, untouched by any experience. And then seeing that movement of thought, emotion, of even reaction and identification, seeing it, perceiving it within oneself, and then shifting the attention to the breath, and again watching the breath coming in and out. And slowly your attention will stay with the breath for longer periods of time. If your attention is scattered, just notice your attention is scattered and moving to each and every thought. And that's not a problem, that's part of the meditation. just become aware of that, to recognize that a deeper part of you is even aware of the movement of attention. And in this way, we slowly start to come back to that witnessing consciousness within ourselves, that unchanging space of awareness within oneself, instead of our attention continually chasing each and every thought, each and every impression that comes up within our consciousness. Normally, our attention moves impulsively, unconsciously to each and every movement of thought, emotion, sense impression. Instead, we start to just come into this space of awareness and watching that movement within ourselves. And as we watch in this way, the movement starts to slow down, and we start to experience the space in between the movement, the space of silence, a space where you're just centered within oneself. And the breath, to bring your attention back to the breath, just helps to ground your attention to one object, into the breath. And as you allow your attention just to be with the breath, naturally it becomes more rhythmic, slows down, becomes deeper. And as your breathing slows down, becomes more calmer, naturally it creates a sense of calmness in the body. It slows down the bodily processes, slows down the nervous system, and kicks you into that relaxation response in the body and mind, where you start to feel calmer within the mind as your thoughts per second start to slow down. Your thoughts and your brain wave starts to slow down, and also then that affects also your body started to slow down, and you start to just feel a sense of calmness and peace descending in the body. Learning to center, ground our attention into the breath, attention staying as your concentration deepens, attention staying with that breath coming in and out, instead of the attention being scattered and continually chasing each and every sense impression or experience. And thought is energy, and the movement of attention is also energy. So the more scattered, the more scattered you feel mentally, emotionally, physically, as your energy is being moved into different thoughts and into different projections. And that creates an energy loss within oneself. So as you focus on the breath, we start to conserve also our mental energy, and we feel more of the concentration of energy in our energy body as well, and our physical body, as our attention becomes one pointed on the breath. Watching the breath coming in, watching the breath going out, watching any movement of attention, watching any movement of thought, emotion, sensation, sound, and recognizing that space of awareness within oneself, the space of witnessing within oneself, where wherever your attention is in this moment, the breath or some other experience, you're simply aware. And within that awareness, there can be any movement of experience, any movement of thought. Within that awareness, within oneself, there may be some seed of identity which may be coming up and which may be interacting with certain thoughts, beliefs, certain memories of the past or projections of the future. And also just being aware of this sense of identity which may rise up, and recognizing this deeper awareness which is simply aware right now, which is unaffected by the movement of identity, the movement of thought, the movement of attention. In this way, starting to connect to a deeper state of presence, awareness within oneself. And this leads us to the second technique, the third eye technique. And the third eye is the energy center, the point in between the eyebrows. So we use the point in between the eyebrows first just to connect to that energy center. And then as we look inwardly through the third eye, we start to connect to our inner space and start to perceive the inner dimensions within ourselves. So just as the physical eyes look out into the outer space and observe the objects within the outer space, the third eye observes the inner space and the objects of form, the objects of thought, emotion, sensation, impressions, which appear within the inner space. And so now just bringing your attention to the point in between the eyebrows. If at any point you want to come back to the breath technique, you can do. But just bringing your attention now to the point in between the eyebrows. And as you inhale, feeling the energy moving up the spine, moving up the energy centers, and coming to the point in between the eyebrows. Also, as you inhale, feeling your attention and energy moving up the nostril and moving to this point in between the eyebrows. And as you exhale, just allowing your attention just to rest at this space in between the eyebrows. Feeling your attention and energy circling, spiraling at this space in between the eyebrows. Breathing in, visualizing the breath as a flow of energy, flow of life energy coming in through the system into the energy body. Feeling that movement of energy up the spine to the point in between the eyebrows and through the nose up to the point in between the eyebrows, feeling that life energy moving in as you inhale, and as you exhale, just feeling that concentration of energy and attention at the point in between the eyebrows. Not forcing the attention too much, just a gentle gazing, a gentle keeping of your attention at this point, and naturally your attention will get drawn in. If you feel any tension, then you can come back to the breath and then slowly just gently come back to the third eye in your own time. And feeling as though you're inwardly looking up into this point in between the eyebrows. And from this point in between the eyebrows, feeling as though you're looking within oneself, looking into the space of the body, looking into the body and into the space of the body, looking into the energy body, sensing the energy body, looking into the mind, into the mental body, and just connecting with that inner dimension of space within oneself. So once you feel your attention has sufficiently focused at this space in between the eyebrows, once you feel your attention being moved into this point in between the eyebrows, then you can stop visualizing the breath coming in and out and just allow then your attention just to rest at this space in between the eyebrows. Just allowing your attention to rest at this space in between the eyebrows. Feeling as though you're looking within oneself from the point in between the eyebrows into one's inner space. Feeling as though you're looking at your thoughts, the movement of thoughts, emotions, sensations, experiences. Feeling as though you're looking from this point in between the eyebrows and feeling as though you're watching a picture, a movie within oneself, a movement of thought, appearing, disappearing, different sense impressions coming, sounds, tastes, touch, different emotions arising, different sensations in the body. Just feeling as though you're looking through the third eye and looking into the movement of form, movement of experience, and seeing it from a higher perspective, feeling as though your perception has widened and expanded, feeling yourself zooming out, your perception zooming out. And instead of your perception being narrowed onto each and every thought, each and every experience that arises, instead you start to connect to that sense of space within oneself, that inner space. And within that inner space, there's this movement of thought, sensations, emotions, sounds. So instead of focusing, there's a shift of perception. Instead of focusing on each and every experience, we focus on bring our attention and perception to that space in which the thoughts come and go, the experiences come and go. So looking from the third eye, feeling as though you're connecting to that inner space within oneself. And within that space, there's this movement, there's an appearance of thought which appears, stays for some time, and then disappears. Each and every experience coming and going, temporary in nature. But that sense of space remains the same, unchanging, infinite, boundless. Within that sense of inner space, there's this sensation of the body, and the different sensations in the different parts of the body are just sensations perceived within one's inner space. And then if you're aware of some energetic sensations, also these energetic sensations also experience as a movement within the inner space. Sensations in the body coming and going within the inner space. Sensations within the energy body coming and going within the inner space. The movement of thought coming, arising from this inner space, appearing, even the sense of identity appearing and interacting and reacting, and then everything disappearing again, back into that inner space. Emotions coming and going, memories appearing and disappearing. All experience, all form appearing and disappearing into this inner space. And as you connect to this inner space from the third eye, as you look in from the third eye, feeling the third eye energy and connecting to your intuition, connecting to intuitively to the sense of space within oneself. And recognizing you are not your thought. Thought is just some memory which has been impressed within our consciousness, which temporarily moves. It's not permanently there. It's just a latent impression within us which arises within our consciousness and in its own time disappears. Same with emotions, it's not permanently there. It's just another latent impression which arises in its own time, stays for some time, and then disappears. Even our sense of identity, our persona, our mask that we show in the world, that we associate with, is just a mask. It's just another impression. It's just the image that appears and disappears in this infinite space of oneself. But recognizing who you are beyond the identity, beyond the sense of separation, beyond the mind, is more like this sense of space. And as you connect to the sense of inner space, automatically synonymous with a sense of presence, a sense of simply you exist here and now, the sense of existing, being alive. There's this sense of aliveness, existence in this moment. And then there could be some movement of the attention to a thought form, to some sense of identity, and then it hooks onto that I am a memory of the past or projection of the future, or this is who I am, which then comes as a thought, but first connecting to the essential presence before the identification with the mind, before the identification with the conditioned parts of who you are, coming to the essence, coming to the source, and realizing who you are at the very core, beyond the persona, beyond the image, beyond past, beyond future, beyond thought. So this leads to the last part of the meditation, where you can stop using any technique, you can stop using the breathing, the awareness of the breath, or the third eye technique, and just simply sit with oneself. And just realize that there's no effort just to simply be. Meditation is not an effort, it's just a recognition of who you are at the very source. Is recognizing the very source of life, the very source of existence within oneself. And you naturally exist. There's no effort, only effort remains in the realm of identity, in the sense of self-image, trying to create something, trying to do something, trying to project yourself. There's only sense of effort and energy that goes into that. But if you don't do nothing, as that sense of identity, you still exist. That sense of existing is always here. That sense of life within oneself. Recognizing that life within you is the same as the life within everything. In its essence, its expression may be different. Its expression through persona, its expression in its energies and its creativity may be different. The very source of life, the sense of just aliveness existing, of awareness presence, is the same. And recognizing this not as a concept, but just connecting to that intuitive feeling of just presence, of awareness, of existence within oneself, just existing here now. Only as you move into the identity, into its beliefs, beliefs about yourself, beliefs about the world, you sense a sense of separation. As the identity, as thought is limited in nature, it's not a permanent phenomenon. Even the persona, our sense of separate identity, is not permanent in any way. It's continually changing. It's a conditioned aspect of who we are. But recognizing that eternal, unchanging aspect of who we are. And each time your attention will, through habit, through conditioned response, will go back into that conditioned sense of identity and thought. And it's just to recognize that and slowly bring it back to that space of just being, surrendering into this space, being open, receptive to this space within oneself. That's always there, only covered by the conditioned mind. But who you essentially are is not lost, is always present. It's not something that you find only when you, as that conditioned mind, starts to becomes more transparent, does that recognition of oneself appear. And as you connect to that source of life within oneself, you recognize that unchanging sense of just being aware of existing. And within that, there's a movement of energy, movement of creative energy. And that creative energy itself creates that movement of form, movement, projection of thought, movement of energy within oneself. And so recognizing these same sides of the coin of within oneself, the unchanging space of awareness, presence, of existence, and also that changing dynamic form within oneself, that dynamic energy which appears as form and expresses itself through form, through thought, through persona, through the body, it expresses itself as creation and then dissolves back into oneself, back into that unmanifest space of presence, space of existence, recognizing the formless and form within oneself, recognizing the changing and unchanging dimensions of oneself. Recognizing the contraction of your attention and life energies into a sense of separateness, and also recognizing the expansion of the life energies back into that space of existing, back into the source of life within oneself. The movement of contraction, expansion. And just silence for the next minute or so. Silence for the next minute or so. Before we end the session. And slowly now bringing your attention back to the physical body, just being aware of the physical body from the head to toe, being aware of your posture, being aware of any sensations in the body, watching the breath coming in and out, feeling the movement of the lungs, the diaphragm, the abdomen as you inhale, exhale. And as you exhale, just releasing any excess energy down the legs, down into the earth, and feeling the earth energies rising up, grounding you, supporting you. Slowly bringing your attention into the external senses, aware of any taste in the mouth, smell, aware of sounds inside, outside the room. Slowly moving the hands, the feet, feeling the different sensations in the hands and feet. And then slowly opening your eyes in your own time, just being aware of the sense of light, space, objects, slowly stretching, slowly coming back into the body consciousness, back into the sense consciousness, stretching, moving, whilst still feeling that background sense of presence within oneself, at the very core of oneself, feeling that you touched the very source of life within oneself. Touch that source of infinite peace within oneself, infinite sense of presence. And still feeling that within oneself at the very core. Even as you start to receive more impressions through the senses, through the body, still feeling that space of presence within oneself, that peace within oneself. So if anybody has any questions, um, you can leave it in the Zoom or YouTube chat. So yeah, if you have any questions, you can leave them. We'll be doing another session 2 p.m. next Sunday, every Sunday 2 p.m. via YouTube and Zoom. Also, I've been starting to put some sound meditation. So if you look on our YouTube channel, every couple of days, 2 to 3 days, I put a short 15 to 20 minutes sound meditation with either the gongs or crystal singing bowls, and then a short 5 minute or so meditation. It's just a quick tune in using the sound and meditation on our YouTube channel, so you can connect and watch them videos if you ever wish to. Yeah, so thank you for coming. If nobody has any questions, we'll be ending the call.
Thanks, Priyesh.
Thank you.
Thank you, my love.
Yep, I can give you want to speak, Gina, after I can 10 minutes or
Yes.
so. Yeah, good.
Yes. All right.
Okay, no problem. Same as normal. Okay, I'll be
All
ending
right.
the session.